Joined now by Colorado's Democratic Governor Jared Polis. Thank you for your time, Governor.
Good to be with you, Kyle.
Sterling Correctional Facility just announced that it has 138 inmates that have tested positive for COVID-19. It was just 8 at last count. Are you considering any emergency measures to get inmates out of there? Early release, going to medical facilities, going to empty space and other correctional facilities?
So we've made provisions in the prison system for being able to isolate anybody who's symptomatic. We now have, if there's a single symptomatic person in an area, we have masks and make sure that the inmates wear masks, the prison guards are wearing masks, and we move anybody who's symptomatic to another area. This was expected. It wasn't a question of if, it was a question of when. This has happened across the entire country. So we're using the flexibility and the space that we have in our prison system to, these we're talking about now, the inmates that don't require additional medical treatment or hospital treatment, which is the majority, of anybody who contracts COVID. They are immediately being isolated. And then we're additionally putting entire cell blocks on essentially lockdowns where there's no transfers in or out. Because COVID is present, and we're trying to remove anybody who's symptomatic and make sure that the inmates have masks.
Is it safe to say that we would likely find similar numbers throughout Colorado's correctional system, and the reason why you found them in Sterling is because we tested in Sterling?
The answer is no, because we did take early steps to try to reduce the transfers during this period. So it got in, no surprise, to many facilities. But I wouldn't say it's every jail or prison in the state. There's some that likely have been able to successfully keep it out. But it is no surprise that because of the prison guards and the transfers, that it's in one of our larger facilities in Sterling. So I can't say that's every facility, just like you can't generalize that, every meatpacking plant has it, even though several high-profile ones have. But certainly there's a likelihood that it would gain a foothold in many, which is why we're taking these steps around locking down cell blocks where it's active to prevent contamination to other cell blocks.
Weld County is planning to allow all businesses to reopen on Monday if they want, in defiance of state public health orders and your executive orders. You've mentioned that you would use any mechanism at your disposal to stop that from happening. What specifically are you talking about?
So, look, I serve as governor for the people of the entire state, including the people of Weld County, and we need to do everything we can to keep them safe. I'll look forward to talking with those commissioners if they would like to do something, if they have it under control in Weld County, which I would add it's not under control in Weld County. COVID is one of the highest rates per capita in our entire state in Weld County. But if there's a point where they get it under control and they want to go further than the state in terms of relaxing restrictions, they're welcome to do that. We have two counties that already have, Mesa County and Eagle County. But Weld County has not said they want to do that. They've instead issued guidelines. Now, the guidelines are not problematic. The problematic part is whether they are saying any business, including restaurants and bars, can open if they meet these, reasonable, innocuous guidelines. That is simply not the case. We don't have a date for when restaurants and bars can safely open in Colorado. I certainly hope that it's sooner rather than later, but we simply don't know yet. And we are looking at all, whatever we need to do to keep the people of Weld County safe. We will work with the commissioners, or if necessary, work around the commissioners to do that.
So I guess we're kind of back to where my question is, though. What mechanisms are available?
Yeah.
We've heard holding on to emergency preparedness grant money. That's not a whole lot of money. I think you said today that you might pull some business licenses at the state level.
So, yeah, many businesses need to be licensed through our DORA, it's called, one of our departments. If you're in an area like a nail salon or a hair business, you need to do that. If you are illegally operating, yes, you're risking your own license if you are illegally operating, meaning you might lose your ability to run that business legally in the future if you're operating illegally, just like if you had been in the past few weeks during the stay-at-home order. For businesses that have been operating illegally, they are absolutely risking their license to operate, in addition to risking closure orders through the county health departments.
Do you have another mechanism that you're prepared to use between now and Monday that you just don't want to talk about? Because right now, when I hear those things, it sounds like, well, each individual business owner can take their own chances and Weld County can go rogue.
Well, I think that's a very powerful tool that we have, because for businesses that are regulated, the difference that a business owner makes in, I'll wait 3 or 4 more days or a week longer versus risk my entire business for years is a very serious impact from those decisions that they make. Of course, across the state, Kyle, we rely on local law enforcement partners. That means we rely on local police, county sheriffs, cities. It's certainly likely that many municipalities in Weld County will be cooperative in working to protect the health of their residents. And frankly, I look forward to opening dialogue with the commissioners. If they would like to move in a quicker direction, they're welcome to do that in a thoughtful, coordinated way based on data and science, as other counties have. But having a completely a set of guides that completely lacks any grounding in data and science and is more of a talking point than a health policy is a danger to the people of Colorado, and I will prevent it.
So your decision to lift the statewide stay-home order has led to the situation that some of your own supporters feared, that we're going to end up with a confusing mix of guidelines that impact Coloradans differently based on where they live, work, and play. Have you given any consideration to the idea of keeping the statewide order in place, at least until some guidance is developed?
Well, some might call it confusing. Others would call it appropriate based on the fact that we have counties that have no one with the virus. We have other counties where it continues to grow at a very dangerous trajectory, outweighing their capacity to deliver healthcare services. So I think we found the right way to handle it, and that is statewide guidance. Some counties in hotspots are going a little bit further. Other counties are saying, you know what, we have a better way of controlling it here, like Eagle and Mesa County. We want to get out from under some of these regulations sooner rather than later. Both are completely appropriate in a state as diverse and large as Colorado.
Did the reopen protests outside the state capitol have any bearing on your decision to lift the order?
Well, I really love that iconic image of a nurse in garb blocking these protesters, reminding us not only who we're doing it for, all of us, our frontline workers, our healthcare workers, but really putting a stark contrast between those who are acting every day and putting their lives at risk to save lives and those who are exercising their free speech in a way that we hope is safe. No, of course not. I didn't really follow it or know much about it besides seeing that iconic photo. Obviously, I wasn't at the Capitol, and neither I think it was a Sunday. I'm not even there most days during the week. We're telecommuting. You're talking to me from home. I'm going to the emergency operations center. But, you know, this is happening across the country. People have free speech. They're able to do that. Doesn't mean, again, I saw some of those signs that said, we don't want a vaccine. I think it's pretty clear that they weren't speaking for pretty much everybody in Colorado. We want a vaccine, Kyle, and we want it now. And if there's folks in Colorado who don't want it, they're welcome to have that opinion at their own peril. But that is not anything close to a majority opinion of Republicans, independents, or Democrats, or even non-registered voters in our state.
So I didn't plan to ask you about the state, but because you brought up the idea of the vaccine, you have been a lot more reluctant than some of your fellow Democrats in terms of tightening Colorado's vaccine exemptions. If you look at the numbers, it would suggest that when there's a COVID-19 vaccine, Colorado will probably be near the bottom of the list in terms of the percentage of people who choose to take it. What do you think about the point when we get there?
I think Coloradans are going to line up for that vaccine. Even those who might not have gotten the flu vaccine over time, who may opt in or out of other ones, have recognized the deadly nature of this virus. And the deadly nature coupled with the incredible level of contagiousness of this virus. I mean, this thing is so contagious, right? I mean, there's one person in an environment, with others, and 15 people could get it. I mean, this thing is so much more contagious than what we're accustomed to dealing with. More contagious than the cold, more contagious than the flu. That's why we all look forward to the day when I think the problem will be the opposite, Kyle. So many people are lining up for the vaccine that is, how do we get it to as many people as soon as we can? There's teams in Colorado at CSU and CU working on the vaccine. There's clinical trials at Anschutz. There's 100 teams across the world that are working every day, burning the candle on both ends to help save as many lives as possible, as quickly as possible.
I think we have time for two more questions here. I don't want to look backwards, but is there anything about America's failure to scale up the testing that we needed that guides how you will direct testing in the future as we try to build that capacity? A lesson learned there?
Well, this virus caught the world by and large unprepared, with perhaps a few exceptions like Taiwan and South Korea. It caught America unprepared as well. I mean, and that is not saying America was unique in being unprepared. European countries, much of the world was unprepared. So will the world be better prepared? Will Colorado be better prepared? Will America be better prepared next time? Absolutely. I can speak for Colorado. We're going to be better prepared. I certainly think that America also has learned, will implement the findings of those learnings and have better physical stockpiles of protective gear, better procedures to hop on an outbreak before it gets out of control, identify it early, and take those steps on quarantining specific areas or people rather than a broad societal wide quarantine, which is what we're undertaking until the expiration of the stay-at-home order.
And lastly, we've been asking Coloradans this week what they will no longer take for granted when all of this is over. How about you?
You know, I think just being able to be with others. Humans are a social animal. We like to be with others, embrace others. The business that I'm in, Kyle, we shake a lot of hands, we hug a lot of people. And, you know, we miss that. We all miss that. Whether you're super social or only hang out with a few friends and neighbors, I think we all miss just that appreciation we have for poker night or for watching a movie with friends or for going out to a play, just being social in ways that we have to forego for the weeks and months ahead. But we know will one day they become a big part of our lives again. We'll be all the more grateful for them.
Governor Polis, thank you for your time. All the best to you and your family.
Thank you. You too, Kyle.